I always adore people that come to the rescue of an animal without any hesitation. People were walking their dogs along the river when one of them fell into the water. The bank was very abrupt and the pup couldn't get out. The dog was struggling fiercely for his life when the woman rushed to rescue the poor thing. But the pup was too heavy and they couldn't get out of the water together. The man, who was passing by, just undressed and jumped into the water to help them. With great effort, people managed to draw the animal to the place where it was easier to get it out. Thanks to this man, everything was done very quickly, and nobody had injuries.
A stuck cable from the mouth of this crocodile. And even helped the beast go back to its home. Poor cat got stuck on an electric pole. However, they made a little basket to bring the cat down. The cat was intelligent enough to understand the signal and came down.
Hi, Momita.
Man saves the cat's life from this dog's attack.
Wild animals got into trouble very often. This beautiful wolf was trapped in a freezing river and was about to lose his life when a rescue team got it out of the water. The condition of the creature was so bad that it went unconscious. The people were trying to handle a medical emergency, but they failed. They couldn't bring the wolf round and took the poor animal to the hospital. There the doctors spent a lot of time and care trying to cure the wolf step by step, but their efforts paid off. The wolf got better at last. It spent some poor badger, which got tangled in the rope that children had been using for swinging. The people from Wildlife Aid got a call and came to release it immediately, but easier said than done. The animal decided that people came to do it harm. So when the rescuer was trying to catch the badger, it did its best to resist. The big cutie was so strong and active that the rescuer couldn't hold it. He just stumbled over, fell down, and broke one of his ribs. At last, the badger was in a cage and the rescuers brought it to the hospital to set its foot free from the rope. Sorry to say, the rope had dug in deep and the badger's paw was in very poor condition. The tissue necrosis was so terrible that the vets had nothing to do but put the poor thing to sleep. The badger was found too late to help it. This was a very sad situation. Some awful accidents happen not only to people, but to animals too. This dog was hit by a train and his limbs were terribly injured. The people who found him were full of sorrows and thought they had to put him to sleep, but they decided to try to save him. 3 of the dog's legs were completely crushed and had to be amputated. The operation took 3 hours, and the doctors managed to save his life. The dog named Deepak survived, and after 6 months, he almost completely recovered. Now, in spite of having only 1 full leg, he is a good swimmer and has a lot of fun with other dogs.
Guy held a big fish that was stuck and returned it back to the sea.
Wild piglet was likely to die. The little thing fell down into the well and couldn't get out. The poor piglet was moving all the time because if he stopped, he was sure to drown. But there were some kind-hearted people who wanted to help this tiny boy. One of them went down into the well. When a baby piglet had almost no force, he took the little creature out. The piglet was so scared and tired that he couldn't even resist when a man held him in his hands. After a good meal and some medical help, this boy was set free. Among the huge woodpile, a little puppy was crying for help.
Yeah, I can hear.
The people from Happy Dog Project, who had heard the little thing, were trying to find him. At last, they did it. The pup didn't look injured or hurt, and the rescuers just took him out. They gave him some drink and took the guy with them. But if they hadn't found him, the creature could have had a very poor destiny. Animal babies get into trouble very often, and sometimes their parents have no chance.
Guy helped the deer by taking the right action at the right time. Go for a helping hand digging his home.
This is one more example of don't care attitude towards wild animals in the forest. People found this boy when wolf hunting season was already closed, but this one got in the trap which had been left behind. When people found him, the big wolf was barking and howling, trying to call his friends, and it was a rather difficult task to set him free. One of the men put a noose on the wolf's head, and the animal got very nervous at first, but a bit later he calmed down. These people were very brave because trying to release the wolf's paw, they were very close to his mouth and his big, sharp teeth. The frightened animal could have attacked them at any time. One of the rescuers said that if there had been other wolves near the place, all of them would get no good from it. A puppy in the street. Sometimes tragedy with animals can happen accidentally just in the street. This poor dog was likely choking on something and couldn't breathe. The tiny creature was laying unconscious and didn't move. For some time, the man was trying to take something out of his mouth and bring the puppy back to life, but he failed. So he decided to take the dog home. There, the man went on trying to rescue the unlucky thing. He even did mouth-to-mouth to make him breathe. At last, he managed to do that. I don't even want to imagine what could have happened if this kind man hadn't come to the dying dog's aid. This raccoon was trapped in the wild forest and got rather aggressive to people who were trying to set the unhappy animal free. Hunters scatter traps all over the forests and sometimes forget about them, while helpless animals get into and suffer from pain and fear. The raccoon was so frightened that it didn't let people come close. It has very sharp teeth, and the man, who was trying to open the trap, was afraid that his boots would get bitten through. The raccoon got free and ran away to the forest as quick as it could. The man who saved him was very happy. Simon from Wildlife Aid was called out to rescue a fox in a builder's yard. The poor fox fell into a gap between a wall and a fence. On coming to the place, he thought it would be a really hard work to take the animal, but Simon was really lucky.
That's the main thing. Come on, fella. That was dead lucky. Dead lucky.
He skillfully pulled the fox out with the grasper very quickly. The animal was frightened, and Simon had to be really careful not to let the fox bite him. At last, he managed to grasp it with his hands. The rescuer released it nearby, where the fox could find his way home.
Hey mate, is it alive? It's alive!
The turtle came far away from the sea with the highest tide and could die in this extreme weather. The guy took him all the way back to the sea.
This guy will die out in the hot sun if he's there for another few days. I just need a rest. We're almost there, mate. I'm sorry. Alright, can you do it? Oh, yes!
A drowning puppy trapped in sewage. This small creature got into the sewer pipe somehow. He was crying with fear and despair. People from Animal Aid Unlimited in India came to save the poor thing, but he was almost impossible to reach. There was too much water, and he had spent too much time there. But the rescuers didn't give up and tried to get in from another side. When the puppy was taken out, he was in very bad condition and needed urgent help. But firstly, people let its mother comfort him. Luckily, the test showed that the little boy was okay. People kept him for a while to let him recover, and after that brought him back to his mother. She seemed to be very glad to get her boy back safe and sound. Thankfully, this dog was lucky. When the waters from the overflowing river washed the pup from the stone, it was trying hopelessly to climb the bridge wall, but failed, falling into the water again and again. After that, the clever dog managed to get to the stones near the riverbank, risking being washed away. Fortunately, there was a local man who managed to come closer and took it out of the water. As the rescuer said, he couldn't stand by and watch the desperate animal dying. The dog was taken to the nearest shelter, where it got all the necessary help.
I helped a lost muskrat get back to where it belonged.
Ah, look at him!
Birds are trapped in ice after a historic blizzard. This couple's using hammers and other household tools to set them free.
Yeah! Okay, fly away, buddy. Yeah!
And almost couldn't walk. She was sitting on the road and was howling all the time because she felt so much pain. The rescuers from Animal Aid took this pup to the hospital, worrying she had a fracture. They were afraid that they would need much effort and time to cure it, but fortunately, the hip of the puppy was just sprained. All she needed was a little correction with care and affection. She spent in the center just several days, eating tasty food and getting a lot of cuddles. She was too sweet to let her go. Sea creatures often get into trouble connected with fishing nets. This time, the sea lion was tangled and was helplessly approaching the people's boat. The animal was so distressed that it let the people help it. It had severe wounds because of the ropes stuck in its body.
It's in there like, yeah, I just don't want it to. Oh my gosh. Sorry, big girl.
The doctors made an antibiotic injection, untangled the ropes, and released the creature, hoping it would be okay. Animals is a great problem. 2 divers rushed to help the tangled seals. It's a rather dangerous thing, as seals can be aggressive, so they had to catch the creatures from their car. They caught the animal by the scoop net and gently started to cut the ropes. They did it very quickly, and now all they needed to do is to set the creature free. When it happened, the frightened seal rushed to the water.